Picture this, your studio's name echoing through the fitness community in your local area. Your logo is recognized at a glance, and your brand values are embraced by a tribe of loyal clients who visit your studio consistently week after week, month after month, and even year after year. If you're ready to make that a reality, then listen in to this episode because we are talking all about how to craft a captivating brand identity for your boutique fitness studio. Well, hi there, I'm Sarah Glanfield. I'm a business and marketing strategist just for boutique fitness studio owners like you. If you're ready to be inspired and make a bigger impact, you're in the right place. All you need are a few key strategies, the right mindset, and some support along the way. Join me as I share the real-life insights that will help you grow a sustainable and profitable studio. This is the Pilates Business Podcast. Welcome back to the Pilates Business Podcast. I'm Saran, and I'm so thrilled that you're here with me today. I'm recording this in the middle of summer. I'm enjoying the slower pace and that little bit of extra time with the family. But I am excited to chat with you guys today all about branding, because this is something that I review most years with the studio owners that I work with on a long-term basis. So as many of you know, I've worked with studio owners for over 10 years on marketing and branding and communication and business development and growth. And what I find is that when we revisit our branding, we find more and more creative ways to more effectively share and communicate what happens inside of the four walls of the studio. And it's really fascinating because obviously your businesses are evolving and developing every month and every year. And so naturally with it, perhaps some of the things that you want to share with your community will change. And in today's episode, I want to share with you 5 steps to crafting a captivating brand. If you followed me for any length of time, you will know that I'm such a firm believer in investing time in developing your brand identity for so many reasons that I'm going to touch on today. But most of all, I should say, in this world where there is a lot of competition for what we do and what you do in this industry, but also for our attention each and every day, it is more and more difficult to stand out. And especially if you're in a community where countless studios are vying for attention, one of the key factors that can set you apart from the competition is a strong brand identity. And building a brand that really resonates with your ideal clients, with the exact type of people that you want to work with, is critical for long-term success. And so I'm going to share with you the 5 essential steps to creating a powerful brand identity, that really brings in new clients into your studio, but also establishes you as the leader in your local community. So the first step to crafting a captivating brand identity is delving into and getting crystal clear on what it is that makes you and your studio unique. Essentially, your brand identity is the heart and soul of your studio. It identifies and shares what makes you unique and what makes you memorable. So you want to make sure that you are tapping into your authenticity when you are delving into how to express your brand and what you do. And then you want to let that shine through every aspect of your business. One of the biggest mistakes I see studio owners make, especially in those early days, is trying to perhaps copy what they've seen other people doing, or perhaps a feel that they've had at other studios. And the reality is that For you and your business, you have your own brand and your own brand identity. And that is what you have to lean into if you want to stand out from the crowd. So you want to start by defining your studio's core values, your mission statement, and your brand promise. This is all about what sets you apart from other studios. It's talking about what the approach that you use to help your clients to reach the goals that they are looking for your help with. You're talking about the expertise and what you care about, the sense of community, perhaps. Identifying these very unique selling points will help you to really craft that unique brand identity for you. And these unique selling points will become the guiding principles of your brand. And this is a very easy exercise to skip, to gloss over, and perhaps even to avoid at all costs, as I've seen many studio owners do, because this is not easy work. And I'll be totally honest with you, there is no right or wrong answer to your brand values and crafting your mission statement. So it is not as though you're going to wake up one day with this, this epiphany that you have found your mission necessarily. It may be a work in progress for forever. It may be something that you're continually evolving and refining, and that's absolutely fine and not an issue at all. But the biggest problem that happens is that when you skip this step, you end up spinning your wheels when it comes to your marketing, because you're constantly looking for what other people are doing instead of leaning on what makes you unique. So you have nothing to sort of root your marketing efforts into. When you have a strong brand identity and you know your core values, you lean into that and you use that in all of your marketing. In fact, it is the building blocks of an effective marketing strategy. So step 2, once you've got your brand values, your core values identified, you know what makes you unique. The next step is to craft a more visual identity. And, those visuals are so incredibly powerful. Like I said earlier, with all of the information that we are inundated with each and every day in the world that we are in, the visuals are powerful. They do speak, more than 1,000 words, right? We all know that. And this is really the first impression your studio makes on potential clients. And in that first impression, in that visual, in those graphics, perhaps the pictures you're sharing, you have the ability to convey feelings and experiences that are very, very challenging to express in words. And so it's about sharing that feeling, that experience through pictures and graphics. So your logo, your color palette, and your overall design will reflect the essence of your brand. And you want to make sure that once you have your core values, when you look at the colors you're using and the font that you're using, that they tend to match up and they tend to express the same kind of feelings, okay? So you want to make sure you're choosing colors that evoke the feelings that you want associated with your studio. So blues tend to be more calming. The bright oranges tend to be more energizing. There's no wrong answer here either. It's just about what makes sense for you and your brand identity. Now, I do encourage you to perhaps invest in some professional logo design to help to capture that spirit of your studio. And to design all of the assets that you might need over time to market your business effectively. And so you want to make sure you've got access to your logo in a couple of different formats that can be used in many different places, because you're going to use it on your website, you're going to use it in your social media, you're going to use it in merchandise, you're going to use it in signage, and you want to make sure that it is eye-catching and that it is reflective of your brand. Now, when it comes to visual, a brand, it's really most important is to be consistent. And this is, again, where I see a lot of mistakes made and switching around and not wanting to perhaps be, quote, boring. But when we are designing, when we want to build a brand that is memorable, the critical thing is to be consistent and repetitive, essentially, with your branding. And so don't try to switch around your brand colors. Don't try to switch around your logo too often. Every now and again, you might feel you need a refresh or an update. But if you do it too often, then you're going to lose what we would call that brand value every time you change your logo. So your brand, your logo has value associated with it. And so every time you change it, you kind of lose that. So we want to make sure you keep that and build on it. So you want to be as memorable as possible, which means that you want to be as consistent as possible. All right. The next step to developing a captivating brand identity for your studio is to define your brand voice. So beyond the visual element, your brand voice plays a real pivotal role in connecting with your audience. Like I've already mentioned, the developing strong communication skills is so incredibly powerful for your business. So when it comes to the tone that your brand has, you want to think about whether you want to be approachable and friendly or more professional in that tone. And you want to tailor your brand voice to really resonate with the types of clients that you most want to work with. And so depending on who it is and how you are going to reach them and who they are and what they would most perhaps respond to, you want to take that into consideration with the way that you speak and the language that you use and the tone that you use in communicating what you do. So you might feel like you want to be you want to convey a sense of expertise. And that might mean that you might need to come across a little bit more professional and corporate even sounding in nature, especially if that is a lot of who your audience is. Conversely, if your audience leans into a more casual, friendly tone that that has a little different way of little words that you use, then that's absolutely fine too. Again, there's no wrong answer here. It's only what is best for you. And what you will do with this tone is that this will drive the types of language and stories and copy that you use across your social media posts, how you describe your classes, and all of the copy that you have on your website. And that consistency in tone, again, helps to build trust around your brand and create a memorable brand for your clients as well. So step number 3, you want to make sure that you have a compelling brand tone. Now, step 4 is where we start to move into the work that you're doing with your clients. And this is all about creating an unforgettable client experience. Now, when I work with my studio owners inside of my marketing intensive program, we actually design the entire customer journey, the entire experience that you want to give to your clients, from start to that never-ending, evolving relationship that you have with your clients. And I'm not saying from start to end, because ideally, we never end. It never ends, right? We don't want that customer journey to ever end, but we do want it to start, and we do want to move people along their customer journey so that they go from perhaps being someone who is just looking and thinking about becoming your client to someone who is a brand advocate, who is someone who is going out there and talking about your studio with all of their friends. So your brand identity should extend beyond visuals and language, and it really should permeate all of the interactions that you have with your clients in your studio. So from the moment they step through the door to that perhaps goodbye at the end of the class, you want to make sure that every single touch point reflects your brand values. And you have the opportunity to personalize that experience in so many different ways, in terms of how they're greeted when they walk in terms of the way that you begin your class or your sessions, in terms of the way that you end your classes and sessions, and then how you communicate with your clients afterwards. Thinking about all of those touch points and how they perhaps reflect on you and your brand is critical to creating an experience that your clients want to experience over and over again, right? And that consistency in experience, again, builds trust and fosters that sense of loyalty and helps your clients to feel like they can truly refer their friends to you, because they know that their friends are also going to have that same wonderful experience. We've all been through and been involved in businesses where we've had perhaps a less than ideal experience. And, it really does influence and impact the way that we want to engage and interact with that business going forward. So don't miss this really important step in creating that really captivating brand identity for your studio. Finally, the last step on this journey of creating and crafting your brand for your studio is to be willing to evolve and adapt. Like I mentioned earlier on, I've been working with many studio owners and business owners in the boutique fitness space for, oh my goodness, let's see now, well over 10 years. And like I said, we come back to the branding exercise over and over again, because as your studio evolves, as the industry evolves, as perhaps even your ideal client evolves, it's essential to adapt your brand identity to meet the changing needs. So you want to make sure you are regularly evaluating your brand strategy. You want to make adjustments as necessary, and you want to seek feedback from clients with an eye on perhaps what might be happening out there in the industry, on the trends that might be happening, to ensure that your brand remains relevant and resonates with your target audience. So you want to make sure that you are embracing innovation, you're exploring new opportunities, and evolving your brand identity to stay ahead of the curve. You might be hearing a little bit of background noise here. There's a lot of aircraft activity overhead. So excuse me that, but there was an air show in my area over the weekend, and I think all the planes are heading home today. So thanks for bearing with me. So as we think about how you can continue to build a strong brand identity, you want to be thoughtful of it in terms of an ongoing journey. It's not something that you can do once and never think about again for the entirety of your business, studio business journey. You want to make sure that you're coming back to this on a regular basis. Once a year is great, perhaps, as you're thinking about your business plan for the following year. And you want to make sure that you are integrating and weaving that genuine authenticity and what makes you unique into your brand. And so what happens if we don't do that is we tend to just miss out on that very unique opportunity that your studio has. So you want to make sure that you are being genuine and you're leaning into what makes you unique. You want to make sure you're crafting a solid visual identity, one that you can incorporate across all different elements and touch points in the customer journey. You want to make sure that you have a brand voice that is compelling and that connects you with your clients in the way that you want it to. And you want to make sure that you're being thoughtful about how you can integrate your brand into your client experience with engaging stories, engaging copy, and the way that you welcome your clients, and so on. And if you're willing to stay adaptable and you're willing to evolve, your brand will leave a lasting impact year after year, and decade, even perhaps after decade. So make sure that you're infusing your marketing with that brand identity and lean into it in a way that will help you to attract new clients, and perhaps, make sure that you are really clearly sharing your passion for helping others discover the really transformative power of what I know happens inside of your studio. That said, building a strong brand really is about consistency, and it does take time and it does take effort, but the rewards are incredible. So if you're willing to leave your mark on the community, then take these steps into account, follow them, and then I will be excited to hear how you get on and what questions you have. So there you have it, the key steps to building and maintaining a strong brand identity for your Pilates studio. And remember, having a strong brand like this really does set you apart and enables you to create a strong connection with your clients and helps to build trust in your studio's expertise and in the expertise of the teachers that you have inside of your studio. So I hope this is helpful to you as you build your boutique fitness business. If you loved what you heard today, I'd be so happy and excited to see you leave a review and rate this podcast wherever you're listening to it today. It would mean so much to me and would really help to get this podcast out into our community. Again, thank you for listening in and for listening, even though there was lots of background noise and planes flying overhead today. I hope that the next episode has a little bit less activity in the background. Enjoy the rest of your day.